I'm Mike Gurney, and this is my persuasion speech. Please introduce yourselves. Thank you. By a show of hands, how many people in the room know someone that is or has been in the U.S. military and served in either Afghanistan or Iraq? Quite a few. Not surprising. In fact, 50% of those participating in a recent survey we conducted replied that they had served in the military. In fact, more importantly, over 41% of those questions said that they were or knew a veteran who was struggling with reintegration into society after serving in combat. The statistics are staggering, and I'd like to take a few minutes to talk to you about an organization that's doing great things for veterans returning from combat. It's the Wounded Warrior Project. The Wounded Warrior Project's mission is to foster the most successful, well-adjusted generation of wounded service members in our nation's history, basically to help them reintegrate back into society. They're trying to accomplish this through three efforts. The first is to raise awareness and enlist the public's aid for the needs of the wounded warriors. The second is to help injured warriors assist themselves. And the third is to provide unique, direct programs and services that help meet the needs of the injured. The Wounded Warrior Project started out as a program to provide comfort items to wounded warriors and has grown into a complete rehabilitative effort to assist these great Americans back into civilian life. Wounded Warrior Project is designed to provide the injured and caregivers support each year through four basic programs. The first program, the Combat Stress Recovery Program, helps warriors with mental health needs and assists caregivers in coping with their new roles. As reported in the 2010 Wounded Warrior Project Annual Report, over 90% of caregivers who attended retreats reported developing new coping skills. The Physical Health and Wellness Program offers warriors a chance to participate in a 4-day cycling opportunity as well as other physical fitness activities. And over 91% of those who participate report greater self-esteem and self-confidence. Additionally, the Wounded Warrior Project has launched the first ever education and training center specifically designed for wounded service members and veterans. The classes are provided by Florida State College in Jacksonville, Florida, and Alamo College in San Antonio, Texas. All courses can be applied to a degree or vocational certificate, and amazingly, 89% of enrolled students graduate from the program, and this helps them get back into the civilian workforce. Finally, the Engagement Program helps to provide Wounded Warrior Project alumni as mentors for new members to provide peer support. To date, thousands of wounded servicemen have benefited from the program. So I suppose many of you were asking why this organization even needed to form. I mean, this isn't the first war that we fought, and surely we've had to deal with these issues before. Well, first let's reflect on the historical statistics of U.S. combat casualties. In a 2010 research paper prepared by the Congressional Research Service indicated that in World War II there were 1.6 wounded Americans for every American killed. By comparison, our war effort in Iraq has resulted in nearly 10 wounded for every American killed. These numbers are optimistic in that they show a substantial increase in U.S. survivability rates. However, the increased number of wounded represent a substantial increase in citizens that may need post-service care, many for the rest of their lives. Some of you may be wondering, why the drastic change in statistics? Well, one reason is the inclusion of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, and traumatic brain injuries, or TBI. A 2010 study on U.S. military casualties indicated almost 67,000 U.S. service members were diagnosed with PTSD while deployed between the years of 2002 and 2010. Additionally, the Brain Trauma Foundation reports that between 10 and 20% of Iraq veterans have some level of TBI, and 30% of the soldiers that are admitted to Walter Reed Hospital have been diagnosed with it. Along with the inclusion of PTSD and TBI, the development of advanced body armor coupled with advanced battlefield medicine has benefited U.S. service members. In 2008, the Journal for Hand Therapy published an article on upper extremity injuries in the U.S. military and found that our war efforts in both Iraq and Afghanistan maintain a 90% survivability rate. That's nearly 25% higher than Vietnam. However, a good percentage of those surviving today's war efforts are amputees with substantial rehabilitative needs. Now that we are a little bit more familiar with the Wounded Warrior Project, the services they provide, and the needs that they meet, I'd like to talk a little bit about what we can do for them. Of course, one way we can help is through monetary donations. In fact, unlike many organizations that spend much of their money on overhead, Wounded Warrior Project ensures that 82 cents out of every dollar goes directly to providing services to the wounded warriors and their families. These days, the economy is tough, and some of you simply can't afford to donate money. In that case, you can register under the Wounded Warrior Program's Pilot Volunteer Program. This program has been launched in many of America's largest cities. Registering will allow you to work at one of the Wounded Warrior Project events. And if you're too busy to volunteer your time, you can always go on the Wounded Warrior webpage and learn more about sending a thank you note to a wounded warrior through their Facebook page. It only takes about 15 seconds, and I think everyone can find time to do that. Some of you might be thinking, well, I didn't agree with the war to begin with. Why should I support this effort? Well, to you, I submit that these brave warriors had no choice. They were only doing as ordered. Many of them may have personally disagreed with the war effort to begin with. However, they went away because they were promised to do as they were told. Now I challenge all of you to go to the Wounded Warrior webpage at www.woundedwarrior.org and give in some way to this worthy charity. These brave Americans need your help. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
You mentioned that there's a way you can sign up for different volunteer opportunities if people are interested.
Yes.
Is there anything here in the Virginia area or somewhere near here?
The young lady asks if there were any local locations for the Wounded Warrior Program's Pilot Volunteer Program that I mentioned earlier. The answer is yes, there is. In fact, Washington, D.C. is one location, and you just simply go to the web page, and you can find more information about how to volunteer there. Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you.